Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Live TV Ratings Talk. I'm Brandon Thurston, broadcasting live from Buffalo, New York. I have way too much to do today, and it's all this man's fault. Well, not really. This is a Live TV Ratings Talk. This is the wrong slide presentation I have up right now. This is the WQ3 report slides that we'll be talking about in an hour for patrons only. But right now, we're going to talk about the TV ratings, the live TV ratings. AEW Dynamite's rating just came out, but we have a developing story happening right now. As WWE talent apparently is being called up and released right after the conference call concluded at about 6 p.m. Eastern time. So I don't know what we're gonna do today. We'll if you all have questions, put them in the chat. You got questions about TV ratings. You got questions. I don't know what I'm gonna be able to tell you about talent releases. I see Sean Ross Sapp and others keeping you updated about that on Twitter. But the names that I'm aware of right now that I've seen publicly reported. Let's see here. Trey Baxter is Karrion Kross gone? We'll hopefully we'll be joined by Chris Gullo soon at some point here, and he'll be able to keep his eye on this. Biff Busick, the former Oney Lorcan, apparently has been released. Frankie Monet, also known as Taya Valkyrie, Scarlett Bordeaux, Jeet Rama, Katrina Cortez, some of these people I'm not familiar with, Zeta Ramier, Jesse Camilla, this is from Fightful, Hit Rose B-Fab, which is surprising to me. Karrion Kross is reportedly released, according to PW Insider. Anyway, somehow I'm going to try to talk about TV ratings right now. If you have questions about anything, go ahead and put them in the chat. We're going to try to address most of the Q3 stuff on the Q3 stream. Which, by the way, if you're not a patron already, you go to patreon.com/Wrestlenomics. The link is there. It's an unlisted YouTube link. But we're here right now. 878,000 viewers, 0.32 in the demo for last night's AEW Dynamite on TNT. The lowest rating in both total viewers and in the coveted demo since July 7th. July 7th, if I'm not mistaken, is the first Dynamite that was back on the road that was not at Daly's Place. That one on July 7th was in Miami. The lowest rating in months for Dynamite. No World Series to go up against. World Series concluded the night before. The Atlanta Braves defeated the Houston Astros in the World Series. Otherwise, this would have been going against Game 7 of the World Series. Not the case, though. What was this going against? It was going against an NBA game. And if we can look at our big TV ratings chart here, where we've got all the broadcast and cable originals all in one. The leader on cable was a late game, a 10 o'clock game between the Charlotte Hornets and the Golden State Warriors. The 8 o'clock game, the Atlanta Hawks and the Brooklyn Nets. That was number 2 on cable. Both of these are on ESPN. Did a .46 in the demo. So not blow-away stuff here. The usual network program or broadcast programs. In my analysis that I've been doing here, trying to track how strong is the competition. Everybody wants to talk about the competition. Is it an excuse or not that you had to go against more big TV programs than usual. So this is looking at, and I know the text isn't huge here, but this is looking at from 8 to 10. So during the time that AEW Dynamite was on the air. I was a little strong on Twitter, I guess, saying this is weaker than usual. It was weaker than last week, for sure. For sure, it was weaker than last week. I count, this doesn't include reruns, this is only cable originals, and everything that's on prime time nationally. 7.8 million viewers in the demo watching TV during 8 to 10. 26 million outside of the demo for a total of 34 million. As you can see visually here, that's down from last week, and it's in line with what it had been the 3 weeks prior to last week. But it is higher than these, early September, late August months, maybe where there's no baseball playoffs in here. I don't know. So anyway, the point is, this was not We had a Dynamite on Wednesday last week. Last week they did 941,000 viewers. They did a .40 in the demo. This week, again, doing 878. So not 100,000 down. What is that? That's about 60,000 viewers down. But down substantially in the demo. Down 8 points in the demo. Despite weaker competition. What beat AEW on cable? Well, I got all sorts of stuff on my computer here. Let's try to open the right thing. They were up against the usual suspects in terms of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills on Bravo. The Challenge beat out Dynamite. Both these programs have an 8 p.m. start time, so they were going head-to-head with Dynamite. We've got the Wonder Years on ABC. We've got the Goldbergs, the Connors. I have no idea what any of that stuff is. But, Tucker Carlson, number 3 on Fox News. We did have election night. We had a non-federal election night in the U.S. That was yesterday, 2 days ago, Tuesday. So maybe there's more follow-up news to see what the latest is on various governor races and things of that nature that were happening around the country. So maybe heightened interest in news viewership, but not this certainly is not a presidential election, nor is it even a federal election. That would be a much bigger deal. I don't know how to explain this. So let's see here. Sir Norm asks, this is a good question. How was this higher news viewership than usual? I would guess so. Is there an easy way for us to look at this? Well, let's see. Because we're in a new month, this is tough. I guess we could look at October, right? And say, let's look at all the Wednesdays. We're gonna really put the Google sheet to the test here. So what I want to do is look at all the programs. Now we're looking at October, since we're only 4 days into November. There isn't enough of a history in November to look back on, but we can look back at the Wednesdays in October and say, I just want to look at the Wednesdays. Google will start to think about this and mull it over, and we'll look at what's the top demo rating for any given cable news telecast. So let's look at the big 3. It's probably going to be Fox News. Let's face it, Fox News, and let's put in MSNBC there too. So let's look at just those big 3 cable news networks and say, all right, on a Wednesday, what was their biggest ratings? 0.29, 0.27, 0.26. Tucker Carlson right across the top 3 here. 4 out of the top 5. So in the high 20s, the high 0.20s, if you will. And what did he do? What did Tucker Carlson do? 0.39. That is enormous. That is enormous. So yeah, this was a very big rating for old Tucker last night. So maybe just follow up to interest in the election of Tuesday would be my guess. Did that though? That's a fact. That at least this program, Tucker Carlson, was more highly viewed than it had been in October on previous Wednesdays. But I don't know. Are people who watch AEW watching Fox News instead, or watching other newscasts instead? Maybe. But that doesn't stick out to me as much as sports viewership would. Again, no World Series to go against. But there was basketball. But there's been basketball in the recent past too, I think. So, to go back to our slides here, what stood out to me as I was preparing these slides is oftentimes I like to look at each demo and say, well, how did Dynamite do compared to Raw and SmackDown? Hey, look, Dynamite beat Raw or SmackDown in such and such demo. The SmackDown that you're seeing on the screen right now is a SmackDown airing on FS1, so not a big deal there. That yes, Dynamite did better in some demos, including P2+. That's not right, is it? Oh no, it's not. Okay, but did better in many demos, including the key demo. But this is an FS1 airing. What stood out to me, though, is that Rampage did better than Dynamite in one demo. I know there's two here, 2 orange slots on the screen, but this is the rating that we've got. We're dealing with small units of measurement here because I'm converting it from the Showbuzz rating. But we do have pretty good granularity in the M18 to 34. Rampage had a 5% larger audience at 10 o'clock on Friday night than Dynamite did in 8 o'clock prime time, 8 to 10. 10 is prime time too, but you know what I'm saying here. Rampage beat Dynamite in one demo. Just one demo, but I don't know that that's ever happened before when Dynamite's been in its normal slot, at least. That's astonishing. NXT edged out Dynamite in P50+. NXT, by the way, up against quite a bit of competition. Let's talk about NXT for a moment here. NXT, what was it going up against? Massive competition for a Tuesday night. In all the, what is this, August, more than about 3 months that I've been tracking this, the total volume of TV viewership, not including cable reruns, this was the high for a Tuesday from 8 to 10, NXT's time slot. It was election night, but NXT. Let's look at a line chart here. Let's look at NXT's line chart, even if we could. NXT though does this scale is pretty specific, but you can see the green line here. It's well within the range of what it's been doing the last several weeks. NXT slightly down in total viewership. If we look at the demo, slightly down in the demo, very much in line with what it had been doing in the last, at least 4 weeks. Unfazed NXT, put it up against the strongest competition, unfazed. NXT viewership skews old. This skewed as usual in the high 50s. It did not approach the 60 mark as it has in the past. You can see way up here. But this did a 59-year-old median viewer for NXT. People who are used to their routine of watching NXT 2.0 on Tuesday nights, whether the mayor is running for re-election or not, they're watching their NXT or something here. Astonishing. So there's that. This is the year-over-year line chart for AEW, where you can see AEW is now, in terms of total viewership, pretty comparable to where it was in its first year. Kind of overlapping in the demo too. But anyway, yes, I wanted to talk about AEW's down. NXT no sells its competition. We could talk about Dark Side of the Ring. We didn't have Dark Side of the Ring ratings last week, or even on the podcast. This past Sunday, Nielsen ratings were delayed on Friday for the Thursday results. Dark Side of the Ring on a Thursday, and I have a bar chart here. 154,000 viewers for Vince McMahon versus the World. It's always Vince McMahon against the World, is it not? So Vince McMahon, the steroid trial, the superstar, Jerry McDevitt. I am a victim. There he is, the victim himself, Vince McMahon, acquitted on all counts. This was the season finale for Dark Side of the Ring, their season 3 season finale. Not a particularly big rating. All of these latter part of the season episodes for Dark Side of the Ring have been going against Thursday Night Football, which, by the way, is the biggest telecast in all of TV. If I'm not mistaken. Am I right about that? The biggest telecast in all of TV this week was Thursday Night Football. If we look back at, is this all of October here? What is this? This is September, but let's look back at all of October here, and if we look at the most watched program on all of TV, take all the filters away, let's sort it by the demo from largest to small, and it's Sunday Night Football. I lied. Sunday Night Football, then we got the Sunday afternoon games, and then we have in terms of a weekday in prime time, Thursday Night Football on the 28th, Thursday Night Football on the 7th. It's among the most, and these are all the midday. Yeah, and Sunday Night Football. So Sunday Night Football and Thursday Night Football and the Sunday afternoon NFL games are the most watched telecasts in all of TV. Which Impact Wrestling and Dark Side of the Ring have had to compete with here. I'm sure a lot of this is VOD, so this is live same day. Obviously, this only gives us part of the picture, and I'm sure Vice is valuing them not only what in terms of what they deliver live in same day, even though that's probably where the most valuable is Keith Lee. Let's check Sean Ross Sapp's. Oh my God! Whoa! Nia Jax has been released according to Sean Ross Sapp. And Keith Lee and Mia Yim. Katrina Cortez, Gran Metalik, and Lindsay Dorado. Wow. Wow. That is incredible. Bearcat Keith Lee. He was only Bearcat for a minute or two. Wow. Jeez. Yeah. By the way, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I will, once I'm done rambling about the ratings, I will go through some questions. We supposedly have 40 minutes to fill here. But yeah, Dark Side of the Ring. There's nothing else that ranks, right? If we look at for Vice, that ranks in the top 50 cable originals. I feel like, you know, a building is being demolished in the background. Not this building. This is actually headquarters. But I feel like the talent releases stories. I'm sort of, you know, trying to talk about the Weatherball building is being demolished in the background of me right now. But if we look, do we find Vice with anything? The network Vice. Yeah. Dark Side of the Ring. 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 Ooh, and I Was a Teenage Felon on Monday, October 25th at 10 p.m. Did do a .04 in the demo and 67,000 viewers. So that's Darkside's internal peers on Vice. So Dark Side of the Ring, probably Vice's top program. Unless they've got reruns that do well, which wouldn't appear on this list. But as far as original programming, Dark Side of the Ring. So there's that. let's see. Monthly averages I wanted to talk about since the month has come to an end. You know, it's easy to get lost in the micro-analysis of television ratings. It's easy to make too big of a deal out of 1 week's ratings, right? But not here at Wrestlenomics. Oh no, we have monthly averages to discuss. And I think there's a line chart for that somewhere here. In fact, I think it's in my other slides. So hi Vince, how's it going? What you been up to lately? Making any phone calls? No, you're not, are you? Okay, so here's the average total viewership for the last several months. Many months. We can look at actual numbers here too in the spreadsheet in a moment. But the general trend that we can see with our eyeballs here, not mathematically speaking, but that SmackDown has been on the rise. In the early period of the return to touring, we can see Raw on the rise and then sliding back down as NFL season begins, as you would expect it to. We can see sort of this summer period here where we got a pretty good trajectory for AEW Dynamite, and then it moving back down to averaging about 1 million viewers in October. And then we see the granularity will get less clear as we move to programs that have lower viewership like NXT and Rampage. But Rampage clearly settling here since its debut in August. And NXT, those NXT viewers, they don't flinch for anything. If we look to the demo, even more precipitous settling in or drop for Rampage is the thing that sticks out first. But probably similar trends, just visually. We'll look at numbers again in a minute, but visually we can see SmackDown, basically since WrestleMania, just on the climb. And this is before the return to touring. About half of this is climbing in the demo. And not stopping, flattening out, if anything. Meanwhile, Raw has a good climb early in the return to touring and then back down. So anyway, let's look at the recent year-over-year trends in these months. And this will fit on the screen like so, right? And just to highlight, what are these programs doing compared to the same period of the prior year? Why do we want to look at the same period of the prior year? Because there is built-in seasonality in television viewing for these programs, especially when it comes to, for example, Raw. Raw in September, you don't want to compare it and take meaning out of what Raw did in September compared to what it did in August, because now it's going against the NFL, whereas it wasn't going against the NFL in August. So we compare, I don't know why Impact is just blanked out here, but that's there's going to have to be a spreadsheet investigation later. But as you can see, Dynamite by far the program that is up, benefiting, as I've said often, most especially from the absence of direct competition from NXT on Wednesday night. Probably not just that, probably benefiting from the addition of new talent like CM Punk, Bryan Danielson, maybe some general momentum that the content is been gathering in this time as well. These positive deltas, though, a little bit more subdued so far in November. Of course, that's only looking at one data point. So I guess what we could say, if we wanted to spin something in AEW's favor here, is that even with this rating from last night, as disappointing as it is, in a year-over-year comparison, that's still providing us with a positive comparison compared to the November of 2020. AEW Dynamite's still up with that rating compared to last year. So there's that. And we can see sort of the longer view and these spark lines here. Is anyone a fan of spark lines? I've become a fan of spark lines. I was taught about spark lines, actually. It's an interesting story. I was taught about spark lines from a TikTok video. And I knew there was a thing called spark lines in Excel and or Google Sheets. and didn't really know how useful they could be until I saw TikTok. But anyway, year-over-year declines, as you can see for NXT, are pretty strong compared to all the other programs. We're not looking at Impact right now for some reason, because I must have broken my spreadsheet. I'll have to repair it later. And we can compare all of these, by the way, to my stand-in for what's the decline of TV overall, as people know, and as they remind me from time to time on Twitter. All TV is down. What about streaming? What about all TV is down? And we can look at, in any given one of these months, what was the negative delta for the top 50 daily cable original programs. This data we get thanks to our friends, the Mitches at Showbiz Daily. And it's, deeply into the double digits, 31% in November so far in just these few days. But it's down 60%, 50%, 47%, and so forth. And all of these programs are holding up better than that. And that's usually the case. That wrestling ratings in many cases are down, but not falling as hard as television overall. And that's especially the case most recently, in recent months, since wrestling programs have finally been back in front of fans again. So I've got this conditionally formatted based on what this number is. So these numbers over here will be green to the extent that they are greater than these negative numbers for the top 50 non-news cable programs. And again, Dynamite looks the best in these year-over-year trends, followed by maybe SmackDown and Raw about even, and NXT looks the least favorably by this comparison. That's in total viewership, and this is the demo. And back in these months, this is NXT not going against AEW, I guess, was up in the demo in most of these months. Not July, though. And then was up a bit in September, up a lot in August, and now is back down in October, despite the 2.0 rebrand. And a mixed bag here for WWE, indicating that it's probably older viewers more so than younger viewers who are tuning back in the return to touring. But everybody looks better here when it comes to 18 to 34. So there's that. I will go through. Chris Harrington has joined us in the chat, the originator, founder of this podcast brand program, Wrestlenomics, and a AEW senior vice president. What is the difference between a vice president and a senior vice president? I hope someone will teach me someday. If you have questions, put them in the chat. Chris Gullo, my co-host, should be joining us at any moment. His face could pop up on the screen. He has been asked to text me when he is ready, and I will pop him up on the screen, hopefully. To remind you as well, if you are not a patron already, immediately following this live stream at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, this should be in here, the WWE Q3 earnings talk will be at 8 p.m. Eastern for patrons only. It'll just be another YouTube unlisted link that patrons themselves already have access to. That's starting again at 8 p.m. for just $5 a month. You get access to not only that link, of course, but to my nearly daily TV ratings reports, going into a great deal of depth on all of the nearly daily TV ratings that we have related to wrestling programs. So I will go through some questions now. I will look for question marks. If you have questions, put them in the chat. Do we, by the way, before I start this, do we have any other news on releases? I don't think we do. Harry Smith, did I mention that? Eva Marie has been released according to Sean Ross Sapp. Wow. I'm just blown away by Nia Jax's released. Amazed. Wow. Anyway, I will read through some questions here. How much, we dealt with the news question. How much higher was the NBA than it had been during MLB playoffs? We will try to answer that. And then another question from our friend, Sir Norm. So, when did the MLB playoffs start? Probably in October. I know that the baseball playoffs start in October because of Reggie Jackson, Mr. October. Otherwise, I might be lost. This tab, I believe, represents September. But didn't the NBA season also start in October? I think that's the case, right? Yeah, there was NBA preseason maybe in this month, right? But I don't think there was, without busting out the really big spreadsheet, I don't know if I can answer that. So, let's see here. If we, because I don't, if I do a Control F for NBA The Jump, WNBA playoffs. Yeah, these are obviously going to be shoulder programs here. So let's see here. NBA. And I don't know how I'm going to find out whether or not this went against. So if I sort this by date and then by demo, or actually the other way around. Let's see here. And if we go up here and let's start searching for NBA. This is an example of an NBA game going against a baseball playoff game. Preseason game. I don't know that we're going to find this in short order. This is something that it would probably take me some time to sit down and answer. But let me see if I can find any other questions that I can answer a little more quickly. Oh, Chris Harrington says that senior vice presidents get senior blood pressure medicine. Well, that's concerning. Someone mentions that I was listening to Daniel Garcia on AEW Unrestricted, and he gave you a shout out, citing you as someone who helped him a lot in the ring. I talked to Daniel Garcia. Many of the moves of Volkan, the great Sambo star Volkan. Yes, I've taught him the Volkan leg sweep, and many other powerful maneuvers, including the lockup, the headlock, and all of his fundamentals, basically. So anyway, it is 7:35. If there aren't more questions, we will end the stream, and we will see everyone back at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, where we will discuss all the news about WWE Q3, all of the financial news, the live event news. For the first time, WWE had a quarter with live events, with attendance to report, more than just the WrestleMania attendance that it had to report in Q2. Venue merchandise sales, $14 per head in North America is what they reported today. And what else were some of the major highlights that we will get into? The consensus analyst, in fact, the highest analyst, estimated an EPS of somewhere in the 30 cents range. I sat down and did the math. I got something in the 50 cents range, the report was in the 50 cents range. So proving once again financial analytical superiority for Wrestlenomics. So we will see everyone then at about 8 o'clock if you are a patron, and you will join us then. Until next time, we will next week be right back at the usual time of 5:30 p.m. Eastern with live TV ratings talk. And yeah, there it is. There it is. With all of the times around the world. That's if I'm right here. People will yell at me if I'm not, so I'll know. 4:30 p.m. Central, 3:30 p.m. Mountain, 2:30 Pacific. And then this is 24-hour time, because I think here in the U.S. we're the only ones who are still using 24-hour time. So I don't know how to pronounce these numbers. 22:30 in London? How do you say that? 08:30 in Sydney, or do you just say 8:30? I don't know. But you can see those times for yourself. So you can go to patreon.com/Wrestlenomics and support and get all the extras there, and tune into the WWE Q3 2021 earnings call review that we will do at the top of this hour in about 23 minutes from now. And you can follow me on Twitter. If people have been tweeting mean things to me today, I don't know, because I've been too busy to deal with it. So I will talk to everybody in about 20 minutes. Some of you anyway.